Time on target. This is where precision meets perspective. I'm Big May, veteran, accountant, and your host. Every week, we will zero in on news, policies, and rumors shaping Central Texas, from national budgets to regional growth, infrastructure, and the issues that hit your wallet and your community. We'll stick to the facts and explore all sides, because good decisions come from open eyes. This is Time on Target. Let's Welcome to the very first episode of Time on Target. My name is Big Make, and yes, today is November 4th, the day that I'm recording this. So, November 4th is the election. So, obviously, I won't have any of the election results until probably the next episode or two thereafter. I'll just give a few highlights probably at that time. I'm just saying, go out and vote. It is very important, especially in these off year election cycles. You get to support local government. You get to support nonpartisan activities where you don't have to look at the party lines. Go out there and vote. Support your local community. These local elections will impact your local community a lot more than the state level or the federal level. I mean, those will impact you a little bit, but these will, this is where the rubber meets the road. And so, if you're in that position, go vote. I mean, of course, by the time you see this, election will be over. But just pin that in your cap for the next election cycle. It is so very important. I mean, you got elections all over Central Texas. You got the incumbent mayor in Pflugerville is going out. Leander has a couple big ones going on with the city council. Down in San Marcos. And there's a bunch of like school propositions, and shoot, we even have the state constitutional amendments that we're voting on right now. So, a lot of important stuff. And, you don't want to be the people that says, oh, I didn't have a voice in that. Well, yes, you do. Go out there and vote. You got a voice in it. My son is actually working one of the polls right now. He got a little program through his high school, and he was able to be a poll worker for this election. So this is very cool for him to see that, and he actually gets to serve his community, assisting with the voting there at the polling station. So, we got a bunch of good stuff going on. But even with these nonpartisan elections, you got the rumor mills, rumor mills, rumor mills, rumor mills. You got the slander campaigns. You got everything going on, especially if you follow any type of Reddit or social media. They're just a cesspool of comments. I don't know what it is about the internet, but people will be keyboard warriors, and they're not afraid to say their opinion until you face them in the face, and then they squeak away. But hey, to each their own. Everybody has their opinion. That's the whole reason why I made this podcast, is to review what's happening in Central Texas, state my opinion about it, and if my opinion differs from your opinion, tell me. Let's talk about it. Let's see if we can find a common ground. That's what's the problem with this world today, especially with partisan politics. You got such an extreme view where people are not talking. Let's talk. You know, I'm pretty sure my opinions are not going to align perfectly with yours, and I'm pretty sure your opinions are not going to align perfectly with mine. But if we can be able to find a common ground, then we can overcome community challenges. And that's all I want. I want us to have an open dialogue. I am sick of this extremist politics where, just because you vote a certain color, I'm not going to talk to you. You voted a certain color, I'm not going to Thanksgiving. You're voted a certain color, I think you should die. Well, what type of dialogue is that? That is not healthy for a democracy. So, we just need to get together, come together, find common ground, talk about stuff that we might not agree on, and maybe we can find common ground, you know? Hey, but, I'm not the smartest cookie in the jar, but, I want to have that conversation with y'all. So let's get into the bread and butter of today's episode, which is the Texas constitutional amendments that we are actually voting on today. I've already early voted just because I didn't want to deal with the lines. Last election, I probably spent about 45 minutes to an hour in line for the presidential election, and that was not fun. So I early voted last week just to avoid the line. I was in and out probably less than 5 minutes. It was nice. There was no wait whatsoever. I already did my research. I already knew what I was voting on. I'm not going to tell you what I voted on, but you might get an idea of what I did and did not do just based on my commentary. So the first amendment that people are voting on is Prop 1, create a fund for Texas State Technical College infrastructure. Now, what I like about this is that it provides educational opportunities, to the taxpayers. On the flip side, where are they getting this money from is the question. Like, when you're at the poll and if you don't do prior research, there's very minimal information. So it's hard to make an educated determination of, is this physically responsibility? Does this has a measurable return on investment? And that's what, as a taxpayer, that's what I ask. I mean, I'm not immune. I'm not stupid. I know that we need to pay taxes for infrastructure. I know we need to pay taxes for education. So to me that is a part of being in a civilized society. So I have no. I'm not against paying taxes. I just want to make sure that there's measurable return for my taxes. So me as a taxpayer, I want to make sure I get something back, or maybe my fellow community member will get something back if we're going to do this. So just on the surface, it's hard to interpret if this is a good investment or not. And obviously, we won't know if it's a good investment for maybe a couple years down the road if this gets passed. So the positive side about this, it could provide more skilled jobs in our area. And of course, here in Central Texas, it's booming. We got factories everywhere. So it will hopefully make our generation or the future generations workforce more competitive to get those jobs, so we keep giving jobs to Texans. So I do, one side, it sounds good on paper, and the other side, what is the expected return of investment? The second one, proposition, is to ban state capital gains tax on investments, protects profits from stocks and real estate. So this, the one side, this could encourage more investment in local businesses. The other side is that people are concerned that it will take money away from public services. So it's another give and take. Proposition 4, dedicating sales tax revenue to Texas Water Fund for infrastructure. So, this past year we had that really bad flood. So I'm pretty sure this stems from it. But the impact of this, it will directly aid flood-prone areas. And after recent storms, it could fund dams and reservoirs and conservation projects. So depending on how it's used, it could be very beneficial. Or, on the flip side, is it just going to be wasted like that one California project? They dumped billions into it, that railroad, and they have very little return. Proposition 8, ban inheritance taxes. There's currently no inheritance tax in Texas. This just puts it on paper. So, if that ever was proposed, then they would have to do a constitutional amendment. So this really doesn't change the way anything is happening now. So, if when someone passes away, there's no taxes given it to the heirs. Proposition 13, increase homestead exemption for seniors and disability or disabled people to $200,000 total, and saving $900 a year on school taxes. So this is a potential double-edged sword. So this would take some funding away from the schools, but at the same time, it would it would reduce the tax burden for senior people or disabled people, which, uh, they're not typically when you retire, the average person's probably not a high incomer, especially disabled people. I don't know if you've seen the disabled checks, but they're not that much. So I don't know if this would have a significant impact on school budgets. It will have a little impact, but I don't know. I think the return on investment would benefit the seniors and disabled more than it would benefit the school districts. So this is the type of stuff you have to research. You have to see, is this worth it? Is this tax cut worth it for the schools or vice versa? So everything is a give and take. So you have to always weigh that. All right. So a lot of these, they just lean towards a bunch of tax relief infrastructure. They put stuff on paper that's already being implemented on Texas. They might ease some burden, but at the same time, they might affect another population or another portion of the population. So you always have to weigh those balances. I'm like I said, by the time you see this, the election's already over. So it I it really won't. I won't influence you one way or another. Me personally, I mentioned this before. I lean on the side of physical responsibility. So wrapping up this first episode, I appreciate it. I know this is probably a day late and a dollar short, especially when we're talking about the elections. And by the time you watch this, the elections will already be over. That's okay. I guess just this is just to get the conversation started. Hopefully, next episode or the episode thereafter, we can have a discussion on what the results of the election, who got elected, what amendments did pass, what amendments did not pass, and then we can have a discussion of what we can do thereafter. So I do want to ask you to do something for your community this week. So I don't know if you've donated blood before. If you have, great. Please continue to do that. If you haven't, please give it a shot. Find your local Red Cross. They have blood drives all over Central Texas, and just donate your blood. Right now is a very trying time for a lot of people. I mean, if you're able to donate blood, or even donate, if you're a little squeamish with needles, my wife is, donate some food, donate some clothes to a local shelter. And I'm talking shelters. I'm not talking these stores that turn around and sell the stuff that you donated to make money so they can pay their workers less than $2 an hour. I'm not talking about that. I'm just talking about go out there and actually donate to shelters where they won't turn around and sell your clothes or whatever you donate. Do something for the community. That's how we're going to make our community better. It doesn't matter what flavor you vote, who you are, what race you are, what gender you are. Just go out there and do something for the community. Make a positive impact on someone. And, that's just little steps. If we do one little step each week, it will just make everything better here in Central Texas. So with that said, I appreciate y'all listening. Y'all stay safe out there. Hopefully Congress will get the heads out of their butts and pass some type of budget. So I know that's going to be impacting a lot of people in Central Texas. But just stay safe out there, people. And that's a wrap on this week's Time on Target. I'm Big Make, and thank you for joining me as we cut through the noise with facts and open eyes. Your voice matters, so please drop your thoughts on today's topics in the comments below. Agree, disagree, add a new angle, doesn't matter, I read every single comment. Follow my socials in the description below. If this has helped you see the target clear, please hit subscribe and share with a friend. Until then, stay sharp, stay informed, and keep the conversation going. This is Time on Target. Out.